All right, well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm Becky Ramirez. I'm the fire chief of Yocho de Hiwanta Nation. And I just want to thank everybody who's taken time out of your busy day to join us. We got a great group of people. This is our second meeting, kind of our third, but our second more official meeting. And we're going to take care of some business this morning or this afternoon. And then we've got some people that I will allow to introduce themselves to some degree. But Tanya, can you tell us a little bit about yourself just really quickly so people understand your role?
Yes, thank you. So I'm a program manager at the Resource Conservation District and sort of coordinating the Fire Safe Council for the county, supporting community fire safe councils, and shepherding the process of the community wildfire protection plan.
Thanks. Heather.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Nichols. I'm the executive director of the Yolo County RCD, and I'm here supporting this effort and helping to bring some process to, a lot of wildfire work. I do also a lot of grant writing and project development to bring wildfire projects to the ground out here. So there'll be a lot of that soon.
Thanks so much. Chief Lopez, please.
Hi, good afternoon. Brad Lopez, Fire Chief for City of Buenos Fire Department. I'm representing as Vice Chair of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council on behalf of the Fire District. Happy to be a part of this and see a lot of our community members and constituents here today and city officials. So thank you for being here.
Excellent. And thank you all again for coming. And my name is Becky Ramirez once again, and I'm your chairperson for the Yolo County Fire Safe Council. And I'm going to take it straight over to Tanya so that she can go ahead with the rest of our beginning of the report, at least.
Unmute, share screen. So Heather and I are going to tag team on our coordinated report. There's a few new things to mention. So for events, our next meeting is August 25th, which is the fourth Wednesday of the month. There's a Capay Valley Fire Safe Council that's forming, and they meet every Wednesday, and they do more than just Fire Safe Council stuff. They have auxiliary group and doing drills and all sorts of really good stuff. I'm going to take this moment to announce that the West Winters Fire Safe Council was officially formed last week. So it's Golden Bear and West. They had a steering committee meeting this week, and the next one is August 23rd. And there's also actually Chris Rose, if you want to talk a little tiny bit about the Pleasants Valley Fire Safe Council, because that's down in Solano County. Not to put you on the spot. Okay, I'll just keep going. So, so we have our community wildfire protection plan status.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, you want to go?
Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah.
Sorry about that, Kay. I had a bunch of windows open. Yeah, so there's a Pleasants Valley Fire Safe Council meeting on August 9th. And basically the Pleasants Valley Fire Safe Council, led mostly by Rose at Morning Sun Farms, Rose Laval, basically has been kind of the clearinghouse for all the fire safe councils that are getting going. There's a bunch of different fire safe councils that are starting, but they're not quite at Pleasants Valley Fire Safe Council level yet. So yeah, the meeting's August 9th at Soul Food Farms at 6 p.m. So.
Cool, thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So we had some steering committee meetings before fire season started. We had CAL FIRE staff, so we did not want to expect them to be meeting this time of year. We've had 5 Fire Safe Council meetings. This is the second one with Chief Ramirez as chair. One of the things that I want to do the month of August is set up meetings with our fire safe council, our community fire safe councils, and our small fire districts in high-risk areas. and go over our wildfire risk assessment map and get input on the ground truthing from folks, and then also discuss future projects. So I really like to set up meetings with folks for that. So if you want to hang around after this meeting's over and set up a time with me, that would be great. So our wildfire risk assessment is still in process, and now we're ready to get some more community input on that. So you've seen the rest of these status updates, CWPP process moving along. Whoa. Okay, that was a little rough. So then we have our project funding tracker, and I'm gonna let Heather talk about that since she is literally in contracting with some of these.
That's really the only big news, actually. We're going to be needing to wait till September instead of August to find out about the Prescribed Burn Association grant with CAL FIRE. And we're also in contract, as Tanya said, for, and actually some of this is true for Solano as well, for the pre and post fire technical assistance capacity building for fire breaks and fuel reduction planning over the next 5 years for both Yolo and Solano. We're in the middle of contracting for that. It looks like it's going to take a little longer than we had hoped, a couple months. But certainly come the end of this year, I would think we'll be able to tell you more on that front. And then let's see, there's another capacity building grant with, it's a state. So the last one I just mentioned is federal, this one's state. We are in the middle of contracting for that. We're hoping to start in September. We're hoping to hire between this grant and the CAL FIRE grants, we're hoping to hire technical assistance providers who this is what they do. Is be able to work with landowners on pre and post fire out in the open spaces in particular. So those are the main updates there. I don't know, see what's on the next page there, Tanya. And then, I think you probably heard through Bill Dodd's office that there is $1.9 million coming to Solano County, $1.5 million coming to Yolo County. And this is for wildfire safety funding for fuel reduction, alert warning systems, and fire preparedness and mitigation. The one in Yolo County also includes a new fire engine for Clarksburg Fire Protection District. We'll be able to tell you more as that it's in process. So that's about all we know at the moment. And then we just have a draft project list is the other thing you see scrolling through. Are we sending this out to the group on email, Tanya?
We haven't, but we certainly could if folks want us to.
Yeah, happy to do that. We're kind of, it is chicken and egg right now. So we're kind of feeding the chicken to provide some eggs. And then, so it's just been, we're building the house we're living in as we're sitting here. So thanks for your patience and involvement in this process as we start to build all of these projects that need to have happen. So just to give you sort of looking out on the horizon, potential projects and priority projects are connected what Tanya is talking about with the wildfire risk assessment, how we prioritize projects for the Yolo County Community Wildfire Protection Plan. We just have a book of a plan full of projects, and then our job really here just is to get those projects funded and done. So I'm excited about that. Okay, that's all I have there, Tanya.
Excellent. Okay, speaking of chickens and eggs, here are the, I don't know if they're eggs or chickens, but this is the list of applicants that we have to be members in the Yolo County Fire Safe Council. So you can see there's 24 organizations. Well, there's 23 and an individual from Madison, which is awesome. And some people have decided not to be voting members, which is fine. So this is the list that we have got. Most of those folks are actually here today. So the applications are rolling in. It's totally exciting to see. And yeah. So that's really cool. And we are accepting applications at all times. So it's not like there's a deadline. If you want to ever update your application, just send it in. It's pretty gentle at this point. And as Heather mentioned, to me earlier today, the members are self-certifying. So if you say that you're eligible to vote, then we're not going to track you down and double check everything, at least not at this point. So does anyone have any questions about the members? You can see
So
we've got,
Tanya, so then that would mean today, if we vote on things, the people that are here on this list that have not excused themselves from voting would be those that would be eligible to vote. Is that fair to say?
because they completed the application, yes, and their applications were accepted.
Got it. All right,
Okay. Any other questions about membership? If you haven't turned your application in and you want to, please do.
I just have a quick question, Wade, Mayor of Winters. You have City of Winters listed number 8, and we did approve through the City Council for myself as a primary member and the Mayor Pro Tem as the secondary or alternate member for when I'm not available. So I just wanted to make sure that's what you had and that you got that application.
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
It may be a good idea to include that, in our future list of representative and alternate.
I'll put the lead name.
Yeah, that might be a good idea, is listing a primary and alternate if the agency has.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I will update that list. Okay, thank you for that input. That's a good idea. Any other comments about our lovely roster? Very exciting. Every time I get an application, it makes me very happy.
I guess, is there anybody on this list that is not on here that should be, that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a great question. Actually, you fire chiefs, the Madison district and Dunnigan should also be on there.
So I think we had somebody from one of our meetings that was from Madison, as I recall, from the fire protection. I might be getting it wrong, but I thought I remember seeing a name from Madison.
Oh, Jim Barrett is on their commission. Yeah, so he was, but they did.
So I can reach out to Paul.
Okay,
unless we've got a commissioner on. No, that's great too.
Yeah, he'd been participating.
Jim, are you on with us today?
Let's see.
And also, Tanya, I might point out, it's like Dash from Bobcat Ranch. Perhaps he suggested perhaps the Regional Cattlemen's Association.
Okay.
I think we reached out to, well, there is the Yolo Cattlemen and Wool Growers Association. Does anyone, Dash, do you know who's leading that up right now?
I know it used to be Adam Klein, but when he left, I don't know who filled his boots.
I don't know if anyone has yet.
Yeah, I actually had a discussion with them about something else, and they have been a little bit dormant lately. But that's I could put that as a potential. Oh man, there's chats. I can't read chats and talk at the same time.
There's nothing.
Oh, the Farm Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea. Okay. I'd really like to get the smaller fire departments in high-risk areas, so Dunnigan too.
We can reach out to their chiefs. I can take care of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
So are all the local fire community groups that are forming on the list here?
We don't have the West Winters application yet, but that is forthcoming. We've got the Cape Valley and we have the East Davis County.
I can reach out to West Winters. Actually, I think Neil might even be on.
Yeah, Neil's on the call, and I know I gave them an app. Yeah, there'll be an application shortly.
Tanya, I'm wondering if you've spoken with Marcus Klinkhammer at the Willow Oak Fire Protection District at all?
I have not. He's on my list. He gets all the communications. That's Willow Oak.
Yeah, I think Willow Oak should definitely be a part of this.
Okay.
We can reach out to all the fire chiefs on that. We've got our Yolo County Fire Chiefs meeting. That's a great place to do that. And we did mention that before to them, but we'll remind some of them. I think the ones that are particularly geographically close and vulnerable are important to have there. And you've mentioned a few of them here. So thank you. And we do have somebody from KP on today.
Yes, Moira is here.
Okay.
And also Jonathan.
Lisa Gaines has an application.
Yeah, that's from West Winters.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, and then the California Rangeland Trust.
This is Barry Burns. I'm supposed to be a representative for Sparta Fire Protection District.
Yay, thank you for joining us. You guys did put in an application. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm primary and John's second.
Okay.
So what we're going to do after we're done with this list right now is we're going to have, it's a chicken egg thing where we're going to have to decide who gets to vote and like members present, members non-present. So I'm going to bring up bylaw stuff here in a minute, but we're going to have to figure out how many people are present versus non-present who are, members as of now. And we need that, and we'll need that number. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. Would that be roll call in the chat, or us just going around to the different squares, Tanya, and maybe you checking your spreadsheet,
Yep, I got my spreadsheet right here.
And I would say, just having done some of these things as you all have as well, usually we bring something forward. By the time we bring it forward, everybody's had a pretty good discussion, and most of these things seem to be unanimous in their approvals or disapprovals. And on the occasions where it's not very clear, I think that'd probably be a great time for an actual vote, unless you need, other than a first and a second, to have all in favor and nays. Because most of the time, by that time, the nays are non-existent.
Sounds good.
Are you ready for me to share my screen, Tanya? Into the probably least exciting work of this, but very important. All right, bylaws. There we go. So I just want to, let's see, I'm sharing now. Can you see a track change Word document in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just we're not going to go over this document, but I wanted to show you that Tanya took all of your edits. There were some good editorial feedback, typo corrections, deletions, insertions, suggestions, comments. And so we took all of those, and we just want to show you that we put them all together. So this is, I think it would be hard to go through this in this state. So I have a different version here in a minute. But we did get a lot of comments, a lot of suggestions. It's a nicer document now. So that's not what we're gonna sit and look at together. We're gonna look at this version, which can you see this version? Okay, sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't work. So I'm actually gonna, so what I did here was clean things up, accept things that made perfect sense, and improve the document. And then there's just a few major nuggets that we need to make sure there's, consensus on here. And I'm
Hey,
gonna
Heather, do you think you can make it just a little bit bigger?
Sure thing.
For those of us with old eyes.
Got it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I'm still in denial myself. So, okay, the biggest thing is this chicken egg business, right? And that is what is who votes, and, well, not who votes, but how we have a favorable vote, essentially. And there was a lot of opinions on this and suggestions, and there's kind of three ways of thinking about it. We had recommended a tooth for regular business. So there's two kinds of business here. So there are two things we're going to talk about, this one, and then we'll talk about this one. There's regular business, and then there is kind of special business, which would be electing officers and changing bylaws. So for regular business, the way this reads now, the way it had read originally, this is just what it said originally, minus typos, is action on an item of regular business will require a favorable vote by a supermajority of 2/3 of voting members present, including abstentions or recusals. Quorums will not be required for those votes. So what we had in comment is, well, 2/3, or shall we do majority? Option 2 is what I call this. Option 3, or should we do quorum? And that I believe was quorum of all total members was one suggestion. So, you know, thinking about 2/3, 51% or quorum, and at the same time thinking about and discussing, is this all council members that are on our list or all members present at that meeting? But we had suggested 2/3 of all members present, but I wanted to open it up for discussion. And then if we know how many, decide here, and then we can do a, okay, I just realized it's a little complicated because we are actually approving the bylaws. It's not regular business. So I'll just go down to this one, which is essentially the same, in a different circumstance where you're electing officials and you're approving bylaws or changing them, So we need to do two things. There'll be a situation for regular business, a situation for special business. And maybe we can discuss both of those at the same time. And then we'll take votes separately.
Heather, question on that. So am I reading it? I'm not sure if I'm reading it right, but for the changing or establishing of the bylaws and voting of officers and so forth, did you want a quorum there and then 2/3 of that were present? Whereas the other one, you did not necessarily need to have the quorum, but it just needed to do 2/3. Is that fair to say?
Okay, so that's great. I'm sorry I didn't go through that stepwise. For regular business, it would be, the recommendation was 2/3 of voting members present. And then and that's for regular business. And then for electing officers and changing bylaws, it would be 2/3 of council's voting membership total present.
That would require a quorum to be present.
Essentially.
Right. Okay. And what would be, what's the percentage in a quorum so you can remind everybody?
That would be, I think it's 2/3, isn't it?
I believe it is 2/3. So if we have, we just have to, on those ones that required quorum, I think you would have to go through and likely, unless you'd have to make sure that you had a quorum present.
That's
to begin
right.
with.
That's
the other one, you wouldn't really need to establish that you have a quorum present of voting members because it doesn't require a quorum. So on things today, we do have to go through and make sure that we actually have a quorum by taking a roll call of people in general, at least.
Of the voting membership.
Of the voting membership, correct. So if we can start by taking a roll call of those that are present of the voting membership, that will allow us to know if we have enough to make motions and approve some of these things today.
Do you already know that, Tanya, by everyone signing in?
I could figure it out. I would want to look at my list versus that list.
Why don't we just verbally go down the list
Yeah.
and ask if people are here today and go from there, if we would, please.
Okay, so
Do you want to go ahead and you want to share your screen and click off? Okay.
Yep.
Go for it.
okay. Okay, there's our list.
Okay, Patricia, we have you here from American Red Cross, right?
I thought I saw her.
I thought I saw her. Hey, do we have anybody from Audubon Bobcat Ranch?
I am here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cache Creek Conservancy.
So this is Nancy Ulrey. I'm the executive director. If Zach Emerson's here, though, he'll be the routine person here. So I'd like him to vote if he's present.
Zach, are you with us?
Hey there, sorry, I just had to step out. My partner got home from work and I didn't want to completely ghost her on Zoom here. So I just missed the last couple minutes. I apologize.
That's okay. Glad to have you, Zach. Caltrans is a non-voting member of Cape Valley Fire Protection District. Anybody here today?
I'm here from the volunteer fire department. I'm not sure if Maura is here from the Fire Safe Council. Let me check.
Somewhere.
Moira's present. Moira's here. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got both the fire department and the Fire Safe Council covered. Thanks so much. Cape Valley Vision. Okay, absent. City of Winters. We've got both our mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, I believe.
Correct. We're here.
Thanks so much. East Davis County Fire Protection District. I believe Chief Gerber is with us today.
Yes, and also John Lindsay.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Madison, we have Eric Segarra. And non-voting district on that, non-voting member on that, Esparto Fire Protection District. Got Barry Burns with us.
I'm here, Barry is.
Thanks, Chief. We've got Forever Green Forestry, which is a non-voting member, and then we have somebody from Golden Bear Fire Safety Committee on the line.
Yes,
Thanks so much.
Neil Benno.
Thanks, Neil.
Hey, Chief, it looks like we do have somebody representing Cape Valley Vision on there, Micah Bennett.
Okay. All right. Nate's just having a difficulty on that technological part. Now we've got Natural Resource Conservation Service, which is non-voting. The 100 Club. Do we have anybody on from 100 Club today? We have Chief Winters from Winters Fire Protection District.
Yeah.
Winters Senior Apartments. I believe we had somebody on from there.
Jim Stella here.
Hey, Jim, thank you. I'm from the Ochavihi Fire Department, so I'll take care of that. The Yolo County Commission on Aging.
Yes, I'm here, Elaine Roberts-Musser.
Thanks, Elaine. Yolo County Board of Supervisors, District 4, then 2, then 5 with Provenza, Saylor, and Barajas. Any of them on today? Were there reps?
This is Tara Thronson from Supervisor Saylor's office.
Thanks, Tara.
Chief, this is Bill Weisgerber. I think John are kind of representing District 4 Supervisor Provenza as well.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just split you. You decide which one you vote for, if you could.
Gotcha.
Yolo County Housing Authority. And then the Yolo County In-Home Supportive Services Advisory Committee.
Hello, I'm Kate Laddish. I'm with IHSS.
Thanks, Kate. It would appear that we have a quorum.
Great attendance. Thank you.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Yep. So, Tanya, at this time, are we ready to have either some discussion or entertain a motion about having the 2/3 vote without a quorum and with a quorum, as it's kind of written in those in your suggestions here? Maybe you can say that one more time and offer any time for suggestions or questions or comments.
Yeah, I'll let Heather lead that one.
Okay, so the first action would be, or the first vote would be, I think would be an action to elect officers, chair and vice chair, or change the bylaws requiring a super majority of 2/3 of the council's voting members, so a quorum. So is that how we want to, is that the council with, the council and voting membership here? We do have a quorum today. We can vote on this. Do we want to do, how do we want to do that? Do we want to do it by 2/3 supermajority of all council's voting membership?
Mayor Cowan here. I would move both of these action items per staff recommendation, which is regular business is 2/3 of the voting members present, and the other items to elect the chair and vice chair and change any bylaws would require a 2/3 vote of all voting members.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Barry Burns will second that motion on both of them.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Kate.
This is Kate Laddish, Chair of IHSS committee. I wanted to make sure I understood why we're doing 2/3 instead of a majority, and also that we have that we reach a workable definition of what a quorum is. And the California legislature defines
My understanding
is a quorum just being one more than half, which makes it easier to achieve than having to have 2/3.
I think it's fair to go by the California legislature. I think some of us have done the 2/3, but I'm fine with going by the California legislature if everybody else is. It's reasonable.
Does that mean 51 basically?
So that would just be for the quorum itself. That would not be for the voting pieces yet. That's just to establish a quorum. Anybody have heartburn with that?
No, that's 50% plus one.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, so we will accept that piece as what a quorum would be. And then I'm sorry, was there a second question in there, Kate?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure I understood why if there was a particular reason why the 2/3 vote instead of a majority vote, but I'm completely happy to go with whatever works for everybody on that.
I think we just had some robust discussion about what that might be, and I don't think anybody's stuck on anything on that. It seemed to be what the majority of people kind of wanted, so that it was a clear majority on what we voted on.
Fantastic. Count me in.
Okay, so do we have any nays?
Well, actually, this is Tara. I do have a question now.
Yeah.
So the way it was written before is it required a supermajority 2/3 of the council's voting members of total membership. Now are we saying it's 2/3 of a quorum, and we're defining a quorum? I agree the quorum should be 50% plus one. So it might make sense to say a quorum must be present to make changes to the bylaws and chair and vice chair. And of that quorum that's present, you need a supermajority. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that clarification.
It does. Thank you, Tara.
Okay, let me get that down now, live.
This is
Okay.
Neil. I actually, as I read the bylaws, it suggests that what we voted on for the election of officers or changes in bylaws be that it's 2/3 of the total voting members. And there doesn't have to be a quorum present, but you can vote by proxy. Now, am I misunderstanding what's written here? Because if I am, we're confusing ourselves.
We're going to try and clear it up here. I think you're kind of also stating what the previous commenter mentioned as well. So I think we're trying to clean that up a little bit right now.
Okay, so let's get this on paper for everyone. Tara had a really good suggestion that started out with a quorum. being needed. Do you?
Well, but Neil brought up a really good point that I missed is, can the quorum be determined by also including proxy votes? I think it's, so I think what we're saying is a quorum has to vote, right? So the quorum as defined by 50% plus one must be established to make these, change the bylaws and officers. The quorum can be filled by, I don't know the right language, but I think what we're saying is present at the meeting and by proxy. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And so then of those votes submitted, it needs to be a supermajority of the minimum of a quorum.
Okay, let me back up.
Talking myself in circles.
Oh,
Okay.
Chief Ramirez, Bill Weisgerber.
yes, please, Bill.
Just, I feel like we're overcomplicating everything. Well, just a suggestion. Why doesn't a quorum be 50% plus one and a passing motion be 50% plus one, regardless of whether it's regular business or bylaws or officers?
The only reason why we wanted to change it up is because there may come a time where we've got 25 members and only 5 people are showing up at meetings and we may not be able to do business. That was a concern.
This might be an incentive to show up to a meeting. Just saying.
I agree that simplification would be important, but I would also suggest that there be a higher standard to change bylaws than to conduct regular business.
Right, I agree. When you're talking about changing officers and bylaws, you really want a greater than a 51% vote. You want the 2/3, I think, especially if you've introduced the idea of by proxy. So that means everyone will have a chance to vote, but you really ought to have a higher threshold for changing bylaws and that sort of thing.
Agreed.
Now, do we want to eliminate the by proxy piece?
No, I don't think you do. I think you want all your members weighing in if you're going to go messing around with the bylaws.
Okay.
So I think the way you had it originally was perfect. You need a supermajority of 2/3 of the voting members to change the bylaws or change officers, and you can vote by proxy. That was pretty simple, straightforward, and made a lot of sense.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion on that or any thoughts to what has just been said by Elaine?
No,
I agree with what Elaine just said.
And I do too.
Okay, so do we go back to the original as it was stated, but do a little clarification on what a quorum is?
There's no quorum in the second part. It's not relevant. It's 2/3 of the voting members have to vote to change the bylaws or the
chair and vice chair.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, it's not necessary to talk about a quorum then at that piece.
No.
Yep.
So if I'm doing the math right, we have 20 members currently as of today, 20 voting members, and we have 4 non-voting members. So 20 voting members, 2/3 of that, I go to 2/3 would be 13.33. Not sure how to deal with that, but that would be the number of votes we would need to basically pass this, to make this decision together now and have a favorable vote for 2/3 voting members for bylaws and electing officials. If we have 13 people vote yes on that, then that's what we'll do. That's the question mark.
And we still have a quorum, it would seem, though. Correct? Or we still have enough present that we could, if they voted, pass something right now.
Correct.
So I think what we're talking about is for voting for bylaws, we have to have a quorum or 2/3, well, shouldn't say quorum, 2/3 of total membership.
Right.
Is how we had been suggested.
Right.
That would
And
be
then-
13 and a third. So I don't know if you round up or round down for that kind of thing.
You always round up.
That makes sense. So that would need 14 yes votes for.
I think we have 14. I think we got at least 14 present today. If I did my math right.
Yes.
So I think we're good.
Okay, so do we need to remove then the quorum language in there because it's no
From
longer relevant?
Yeah.
From the
just-
second half.
Yeah, in the second half, just put it back the way it was.
Yep.
It was perfect.
I think we have 17 or 18 voting members here.
Right.
Okay.
So if you could go back to the original that has the quorum information deleted, and then we can go back, our motion actually still stands because it
Yep.
stands as it was originally written.
Correct.
And you had, the yeas had been spoken for. Is there any more discussion first?
Could you, for the minutes, repeat the motion?
Wade made the
Please.
motion, Wade Cohen made the motion, and Barry Burns seconded.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was staff recommendation on items of regular business will require a favorable vote by a 2/3 vote of the members present. And that'd be a quorum of those votes. An action to elect a chair or vice chair or change the bylaws would require a supermajority of 2/3 of the council's voting members, and the members may vote by proxy.
Okay, so let's try it once again from the top then. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes.
Okay, I have one question. Are we changing the quorum then? I don't know where it is in the bylaws there.
It just speaks to quorums will not be required or will not be required for those votes. So that it's really
It's sort of moot. Yeah.
a
Got it.
moot point, right?
Correct.
Got it.
Rather than be silent on it.
Now we're cooking.
Now we're in it. Okay, thanks all. Proficient.
Crack the eggs.
Could we back up before we move on? Membership requirement in the statement of what organizations can be members. It states that this organization must have 10 members and exist for at least a year. We are then precluding all of our new fire safe councils that we're forming from being community-based fire safe councils from becoming members. By
I think the
requiring that
original
year-
intention was someone suggested deleting this statement, but the way it reads is actually with at least 10 members, or if a smaller organization, OEG, basically an organization, entity, or group, has been in existence and active for at least a year. You're right. This is not what we meant to say.
I can speak to that though, because on the application, because I thought the same thing, Neil. Here's what the application says. In order to vote, a member must be supportive of the council, representation, blah, blah, blah. And it says, or a fire safe council, prescribed burn association, firewise community, or other similar fire-related group. So that precludes having to be in existence for a year. As long as you're a fire association.
That language in there?
We should do
Or
that.
those, yes.
Totally forgot about that. I'm glad you brought
Yes.
that, Neil. because that's why I was like, no, we have it. I was like, oh, we wrote it for the application.
Yeah, we wrote it for the
Forgot to put it in
application.
here.
Might be good to include that distinction in there in the bylaws maybe.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
I'm gonna drop it
Agree.
in the chat just for the heck of it.
Okay, and then just so, what I was thinking is, you know, we're having to make a few of these major decisions together as the council, or the council's making these decisions, and then all the other little changes and suggestions that I think everyone would be great with. So giving you a whole other month when we meet again, just approve the bylaws as a whole at the next meeting, if that's okay, just, or if that's wanted.
If we can, yeah, if we can get those sent out, and I'm sorry, you may have already done this, but sent out along with the invitation too, so that we can review those, that would be great.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that will need to be discussed after this meeting, but I did include some additions and suggestions that seem to make a lot of sense, but I didn't put them on for discussion for tonight.
And if anybody has some questions or some comments, once they read through them a little bit, please share your ideas with Tanya and with Heather and I.
Yeah, so we will include the language that's in the application about those new groups forming. So that will go here. And Tanya's got some, okay, so we're gonna do that for sure. We have this taken care of. I'm gonna go back up to the top. There's a statement in here if someone had a question. Well, actually, there's two things here. There's a purpose statement, and then there's someone suggested alternate wording. So I left those in for discussion, and then there's a question in this last bullet too. So this is another piece I thought seemed like it was important enough to discuss. There's the original purpose. Says the purpose of the Yolo Fire Safe Council is to serve as a forum for the implementation of the Yolo County Community Wildfire Protection Plan, share fire safety. I think I added, someone added in preparedness information that got included, assess fire risk, promote community fire safe planning and coordination, and support the fire service and local fire safe councils. And then someone asked, isn't it also to find funding for approved projects to make Yolo County safer from wildfires, ? Or is that part of the Community Wildfire Protection Plan? And I had interpreted it as a, thinking about this, that the bullet 1 up here, serving as a forum to implement the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, includes finding funding for making Yolo County safer from wildfires. But if we want, as a group here, to spell it out further, you know, we could certainly do that.
I think it helps to not remain silent, but rather to state it. I don't think there's any harm in stating it. It's probably a good idea.
So what the suggestion could be, just take it at, not make it a question, but make it a statement essentially.
Yeah.
And it would be, you know, to find funding for approved projects to make Yolo County safer from wildfire. Oopsie.
To seek available funding for approved projects, or proposed and approved projects. Because some may be proposed but aren't actually approved until we find funding.
And for those of you who, this also drives me nuts, just so you can see it clean. So to seek available funding for proposed and approved projects to make Yolo County safer from wildfires.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm the one that proposed that because it was unclear to me. So I think this spells it out. That's great.
And you may want to get rid of the 2 at the start of the bullet because it might be redundant.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys are great. And the alternate wording just is a little different. Instead of, you know, is to serve, share, assess, promote, support, and seek. It's the purpose of the Fire Safe Council includes serving, sharing, assessing, promoting, supporting, and then we would add seeking and so on, the last bullet. Any preference there? I recommend more active language in the top, but that's kind of how I tend to do it, but
That's fine. Splitting hairs.
okay.
I have a question.
Let's go right ahead, Tracy. Thank you.
The first one says for implementation of the CWPP, but the CWPP is not going to be done for a while. And then there are going to be future updates. So I wonder if we want to add something like create, update, and implement. So otherwise, you can't do anything about it because it's not done yet. The serve as a form to create, update, and implement the Yolo County.
How about develop?
Sure.
Implement and update, update and implement?
Sure, anything like that.
It'd be development.
Does that do it?
Sure. I mean, if you consider development updating, I don't think we have to wordsmith. I think it's fine.
I was gonna say throw an update.
Yeah,
Update, I think of as doing the next version. You know, we do the work and then we update our CWPP, but again, we're splitting hairs maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I like the word update in there. I think that's important.
Okay. For the development, update, and implementation.
Perfect.
Cool.
Then I had one question. I had written the alternative language instead of saying is to. I had put includes just so we wouldn't be limited to adding new purposes down the line. And that's just from experience in working with other groups where sometimes you will see something where someone will try to hold you to that if you try and expand the activity. So that's why I had recommended includes instead of is to.
Okay.
Yeah, you
got
can
a thumbs up from someone else here.
You can say it includes, but not as but is not limited to, if you want to get more precise.
Okay. I think either one is great, actually.
But I think it's a good point. Well taken.
Okay. So how about I go to the we'll tinker with the alternate wording.
Or we could put the purpose of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council is at a minimum to
Yeah, I think that works too. But my my whole goal is not to tie our hands to any sort of maximum or minimum standard of what we can do, but just trying to give us the maximum flexibility as to the purpose statement, so we don't end up with a clever lawyer coming back later and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, you guys are going outside the scope of what's in your bylaws."
Right.
Got it. Yeah, that's fine. We can switch it to the includes. Just a little wordsmithing on Heather's part.
Purpose of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council includes, but is not limited to.
Yep.
These serving, sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually going to do that.
Got it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I think there was just one more thing here.
A quick question. If you go back up to that, I think the alternate wording about the community wildfire protection plan didn't include the. This just has the first bullet point is serving as a forum for the implementation of, but doesn't have.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
The development and update.
Oh, good point.
And
many minds make great work.
And there's an extra space between the two and colon at the top of
that.
Before we move on, I also had a question. I was wondering what the group thought about including some language in the purpose that calls out a focus on promoting ecological integrity. And I totally understand if people want to focus more on the community emphasis here for fire safety, I do know we were talking about the mission statement last time, and we do mention protection of ecological values there. I'm not sure if we want our purpose to link up one-to-one, correlate with our mission, but I certainly my background is I'm always thinking about how we can also call out the non-human benefits of fire management. So I was thinking I would be interested in hearing feedback from the group on adding language to the purpose of something like promote fire management that supports ecological and cultural integrity, something like that. But what you added to the top, but is not limited to, I don't know if we want to get too detailed here with our purpose, or just sort of leave it to not limited to, and leave some of the stuff out that I was just mentioning. So just putting that out to the group, and curious to hear people's thoughts there.
I think that's a great element to include, and I think that's the goal, but to kind of clearly define that and keep that in perspective and on overall purpose and mission is of great value there.
Did everyone catch that, Brad? I had a little hard time hearing every one of your words.
Yeah, I just support that idea that Zachary mentioned. I think there's value in that. I think that is kind of the mission and the purpose, maybe not illustrated here, but obviously keeping that in perspective and in mind.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see any problem with it.
Something like promoting.
I just off the cuff was thinking, similar wording to that bullet point above would give us something like promote fire management that supports ecological and cultural integrity. And totally fine if we completely edit that later.
Thank you, Zach.
Promoting fire management that supports ecological and cultural integrity.
Perfect.
Yeah, I like it.
Awesome. Okay.
Great addition. Thanks, Zach.
And I have a question that it might not require changing any of the language, which would be pretty great. But the way that we're defining fire safety, are we talking specifically about basically people getting their properties dialed in to better withstand wildfire? Or are we also talking about helping people be better prepared themselves personally? Getting emergency preparedness information to people.
It's an all of the above.
Yeah,
make sure I understand what we're talking
I think
about.
it's an all of the above thing. I think
Great.
that anything that helps with their emergency preparedness, particularly as it relates to fire,
Great.
Is great. I think we'll have a lot of fingers that probably are tangential to other emergencies as well.
Great. That's why we have the Red Cross and the Audubon group, and Caltrans and all the stakeholders here, right?
Great. Thanks.
Well, there's one other thing that got crossed out, and I don't disagree or agree. We had originally decided regular meetings of the council should be held monthly at dates and locations agreed upon by council members. Someone put in suggested deleting that and just having it read, regular meetings of the council shall be held at dates and locations agreed upon by council members. I can see some flexibility there. Discuss that. Anyone have some strong feelings?
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to leave flexibility, because there may be times when you want to go to maybe quarterly. There may be other times if you're in the middle of a wildfire, you might want to do it once a week. So if you just leave out the monthly, then you say regular meetings. So
any other Any other opinions?
I agree with trying to establish the flexibility and think we should do that. But then I think you have to say something about how the members decide what those meetings will be. I mean, we trust everybody now, I think, but just to make sure that there isn't a couple of people that decide there's going to be a meeting tomorrow and leaving out people being able to schedule and so forth. I don't have a suggestion for what to say, but I think if you are going to say that it's going to be by how they decide, you have to put some parameters around that.
So would
We
that
could
be,
take the approach of correcting problems and leave it general to begin with. And if we find problems, then bylaws can be altered. I think the regular meetings of the council should be held at dates and locations agreed upon. Is a reasonable statement, I think.
Agree.
Deborah, are you making a comment? Shoot, I don't hear her.
Barry Burns here. I really think it should be a monthly meeting, a certain date in case somebody would like to come to the meeting. We could tell them what the date is. Then if stuff comes up like a wildfire, we got to have special meetings. We could call special meetings.
One thing that was suggested that might speak a little bit to that, basically making it sure that it's known that we're meeting, I think is one of the things that you're bringing up is the second statement that got added as a suggestion, which says at least 1 week before meetings, the Yolo County RCD staff will email agendas to all voting and non-voting members, organizations, and interested individuals, and that the agenda will also be available on the Yolo County Resource Conservation's website and by contacting us. And eventually we're going to have a Fire Safe Council website, by the way, where that's in the works. So that will be the clearinghouse as well. But maybe that helps to address the issue of making sure people know when we're meeting, if the sequence changes or the frequency, changes.
Heather, would it be, I would kind of advise you to put notice of these meetings on the county website, the county OES website.
Okay. We can put it in multiple spots.
Yeah, because that's where people are probably going to go for information about, emergency preparedness. So
what we would like to do, kind of one of the visions, and where you have funding to do it, and we're just, it's probably going to take a couple more months to really get it rolled out, is to have a Yolo County Fire Safe Council website. And so we can have, RCD can have a link to that website, OES can have a link to that website on their page, so that there can be several different places where it will bring people to one spot.
That would be
I'll send to you one of our inspiration websites to look at, which is San Diego County Fire Safe Council's website. Put the link in the chat to give you a sense of where we're headed with that. So I think that addresses, hopefully that addresses, that part. Let's see.
So if down the line there's the Fire Safe Council website, if we've specified that it'll be posted in the bylaws on the Yolo County RCD website, would we then just have to vote and update the bylaws, or is there a way to wordsmith it right now?
So taking what Chief Burns said, we probably could put something at the end of that first sentence. If we continue to exclude the monthly in the first part of the sentence, but at the end of that first sentence, and just say this is typically monthly on the third Wednesday of the month, or this is typically monthly. That just gives you an idea that it is that we can do it at any time, but it's typically monthly. And then we can decide what that, you know, if it's the third Wednesday of the month or the fourth, like today is, or whatever that is. Would that suffice, Chief Burns?
Yeah.
Or minimum of monthly meetings with flexibility to meet more frequently.
I don't know if you want to tie our hands for the minimum, because you could be in the middle of the winter time and Christmas time and or whatever other area that you want to do it quarterly. So I would just say this is typically monthly. That sets us up for a monthly recurring meeting. And that typically gets you a little flexibility.
As an alternative, I might suggest just saying the monthly as it was written, and then after by council members, you could write unless otherwise scheduled by council.
And you could do that too. That gets us there too. I like that better. Okay. There you go.
You don't need the second, the first by council members you can skip.
Yes, that's nicer.
No, you didn't do it right. It's held monthly at dates and locations agreed upon unless otherwise scheduled by council members.
Oh, got it.
So just skip that. Yeah, so otherwise that's redundant.
How's that? Let's see.
So does this change now bind us to meeting monthly?
Oh,
No, because it says unless otherwise scheduled by council members.
Yeah, sorry, I disagree because it says will be held monthly unless otherwise scheduled. So, well, okay. I'll let it go. I'm doing too much lawyering because I know I could certainly paint us into a corner there. So no big deal.
Would it be impossible though to add typically and unless otherwise scheduled?
You know, in the interest of saving time, and I'm kind of running out of time on my personal clock here, I will just submit some text recommendations for the next draft.
Perfect.
Okay, and this will change down here. Once we do start posting on, we could, I don't know if Kurt Johnson's on the line, if we can also post the agenda there, or a link to our agenda on the OES website, but I want to address that now too, since it's going to be a few months before there's a Fire Safe Council website.
Heather, you might just do something like this. Regular meetings of the council shall be held, comma, typically monthly, comma, at dates and locations agreed upon unless otherwise scheduled by council members. I think with those two commas in there, that should take care of it.
Okay, so should be held monthly?
No, shall be held, comma.
Okay.
And then typically monthly, comma.
Okay.
And then you're fine.
Okay.
So the typically monthly is just an example.
Awesome. Sounds good.
I think at that point, you can take away the unless otherwise scheduled by council members because you're leaving it nebulous. You're just saying regular meetings shall be held whenever at dates and locations agreed upon. But since you're not defining the schedule, I don't think that you need to define that the schedule might change.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Simplicity, we go for, I'll put this back in and take out this one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. You got it.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Did you see Chris Rose's pep talk about all the people on a Zoom call, what we can get done? We're doing it.
Okay.
So it's 5:15. Be nice to wrap up.
I'll,
What are the other pieces of business do we need to take care of?
that was all for bylaws.
Okay, do we need to move on then on our agenda? We've got,
That's it for
do we
the
need to vote
agenda.
on- Well, do we need to vote on the chair? Because right now we're just interims.
Oh,
Is that
good
something-
point. Yeah.
I don't know if we had anybody that threw their hat in the ring.
So there were some am I on? I can't.
Yeah.
Is the mic on? There were some questions about rotating, and I did have some clarification there because I know that might come up with this question. Essentially, shoot, let me get there. I'm just going to share my screen again so you can see it with your own eyes, because you're really digging into this, which I really appreciate. So this part about okay, so under governance, this it's the third sentence. The council will have a chair and vice chair, each with a 1-year term and expectation that vice chair serves as a chair the following year. I added that in because we'd had some discussion about that outside of a meeting. So there's kind of two things going on there. And I took out the word rotating and offered this up as a suggestion, which I'm totally open to your feedback here. There's also language in there about what the RCD is doing and what the chair is doing. So I'll give you a sec.
I'm fine with that.
I'll make a motion that we retain Chief Ramirez as chair and Chief Lopez as vice chair.
I'll second that, Barry Burns.
All those in favor of the motion that we have to retain present interim chair and vice chair? Motion's on the table.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so if we can wrap up just a little bit, it sounds like we're going to send out the bylaws with the amendments, but please feel free to add anything that you need, any suggestions that you have, and we'll send that out after this meeting so you have a good amount of time to look at them. Is there anything else that we're missing on this, Heather or Tanya?
I think that's it. Going through bylaws is probably not any of our favorite activities, and it was actually really pleasant working with everybody. I really appreciate the engagement, patience, and kind of our stepwise approach. So thank you. I think we're about done.
And keep your eyes out there for grants and other things and projects, and put your thinking caps on so we can begin to maybe discuss that at our next meeting and begin to move forward on what some of those projects might look like.
We can, yeah. So I wanted to connect with fire safe councils and fire departments to set up times to come over with my wildfire risk assessment maps.
We'll look forward to hearing from you, reporting on how many you've set up appointments with or any that
Yes.
you may have met.
I mean, we could do it
before
right
next week.
now
So
after folks leave. You know, if the fire folks want to stay on, then I would.
And do we have a date for our next meeting?
We do. It is the 25th of August, which is the fourth Wednesday.
Sounds like which is going to be our regular meeting date then, the fourth Wednesday? Is that what we're referring to as our regular meeting date?
I will say, since we're talking about this, I believe it's the Housing Authority that has their meeting at 3 p.m. on the 4th Wednesday. They were hoping we could meet later or earlier. I don't think we want to meet earlier because that's harder for volunteers who are working. So that is a little bit of a issue.
Do they need more than an hour for their meeting?
It sounds like they do. Yeah.
Let's get some information on that, and if we need to end up changing our date or our time, we'll work with that.
Okay.
We can just keep it virtual for this next time and work through some of those details. That'd be great. So we'll meet virtually this next meeting at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, the 25th.
Tanya, Bill Weisgerber here, East Davis County. We'll connect with you offline.
Okay.
On
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything for the good of the order before we sign off and close the meeting?
I just have to add that you are an awesome chair, Chief Ramirez. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thanks all. We'll see you next month. Be safe and be well.
Permanent chair.
No.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Bye,
staying
everybody.
on for anyone who wants to set up a meeting with me.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks.
Hi, all. Thank you.
All right, thanks all. Jesse,
Thank you.
I'm calling you out. Oh, we left.
Hey,
Okay.
Jesse, do we have a meeting tonight?
Yeah, we do.
All right, copy that.
Oh, there you are.
Yep.
I didn't recognize you out of your black box.
Yeah, what are you trying to set up? What's the?
I just want
Wildfire?
to connect. Tracy and I were talking about connecting with the smaller fire departments in the high risk areas, which you guys certainly are too. We have some risk assessment maps that we wanted to ground truth with folks.
Did you want to meet with like the whole membership of the department, or are you just trying to set up something to share materials with
I think the more,
officers?
yeah, it would be nice to just show up at one of your meetings and go over stuff.
Okay, yeah, let me check with our training officer and see if we can clear out a spot. What are you thinking? How long of a time slot would you like? What's good for you?
I would say 30 minutes to an hour. Like the idea that we would bring the map that we've got for the risk assessment countywide and then get input from anybody who can, like with local information. So a little bit of time to explain what it is, how we developed it, and then to get people to draw on it.
Okay.